From Fox 5 New York, this is Good Day Weekend.
Good morning and welcome to Good Day Weekend. It's Saturday, June 21st. I'm Haley Fixler in the Fox 5 newsroom. Thanks for joining us live on the Fox Local app. Well, it is officially summer, and sure does it feel like it. Today is the last day before the temperatures soar into possibly record-breaking levels. Public officials, they're already warning people to stay cool and stay hydrated. All right, so let's take a look at the forecast for you. Today, temperatures reach 88 degrees, and that's actually going to feel cool compared to what's coming. Tomorrow, we're going to hit 94 degrees, and it's going to be even hotter as we enter the work week. Stay locked into Fox 5 and Fox Local for your latest forecast. All right, in other news, Mahmoud Khalil, he is expected to be back in New York. The pro-Palestinian activist and former Columbia grad student has been released from an immigration detention center in Louisiana. A judge ordered that he should be set free. The Trump administration wants him deported. Well, in the Sean Diddy Combs trial, prosecutors released never-before-seen photos of what they say was seized from Diddy's L.A. mansion. It is a large arsenal of automatic weapons, drugs, and a lot of baby oil. And we're told that some of those items were stored in fancy display boxes. Now, all of this is part of the evidence being used against Diddy in his trial. Well, doctors at the Stony Brook Heart Institute have a powerful new tool to detect heart disease. Fox 5's Jody Goldberg shows us how they're using AI now to diagnose patients earlier and to help come up with a strong prevention plan.
It's a smart software called HeartFlow Plaque Analysis, and it's helping doctors here at Stony Brook Medicine spot silent signs of heart disease.
We have a CT scan, similar to the old-fashioned way, where we can actually see the outline of the artery. And then we visually estimate that there's a blockage in a certain spot. Now we have the ability to find out whether that spot is limiting the blood flow.
Plaque that restricts or reduces blood flow can trigger coronary artery disease or worse, a heart attack, according to Dr. An Chen.
In the center here, you can see the outline of the artery.
With a boost from artificial intelligence, the technology tracks the type and total amount of plaque building up inside arteries. Dr. Chen says the more purple that appears on the scan, the greater the risk.
The AI software tells us whether or not that blockage limits the flow through the artery, and then what does the blockage consist of? What kind of plaque is there, whether it's soft, hard, and what is the chance of the likelihood that that develops into a cardiac event down the road?
Heart disease is and has been the most common cause of death here in the United States since the 1950s, according to the CDC, with most recently close to 1 million people dying from it each year.
Not with me. 2 of my brothers have stents.
Neil Sidrain says he believes in the science. While his scan showed no serious concerns, he says he's paying closer attention to his diet.
We did find that he had enough plaque to justify being aggressive by prevention.
It's making more cognizant of my daily decisions as to what I'm eating, what I'm putting in my body.
Doctors at Stony Brook Medicine, the first health system on Long Island to use the technology, say a clearer picture creates a stronger prevention plan.
Detecting it early is key for both prevention and treatment.
Technology a beat ahead, catching heart disease before it catches you. On Long Island, Jody Goldberg, Fox 5 News.
Really cool technology. All right, in other health news, a new warning for cannabis users about the risk of heart disease. In a study published in the journal Heart, researchers found cannabis use could double your risk of dying from cardiovascular disease. It was also said to raise your risk for a stroke by 20%. And with those risks in mind, the researchers are now calling for marijuana to be treated like tobacco, not criminalized, but discouraged. All right, listen to this. Driverless taxis could soon be hitting the streets of New York City, but they won't exactly be driverless. Waymo announced it's going to be testing its robo-taxis on city streets next month. But here's the thing. New York State law fully prohibits fully driverless operations without a human in the car. So that means there's going to be another person in the vehicle with you. The company still needs to get a permit with the city's transportation department to operate driverless. Well, nestled in the heart of the theater district, there is a crowd pleaser that's been packing people in for 60 years. And now this place is not just known for its food, but for its deep ties to Broadway. Fox 5's Natasha Verma snagged a table.
The sweetest sounds on Broadway aren't coming from an orchestra pit, but this restaurant, where the sizzle of burgers grilling and cocktails being shaken have been a constant on 46th Street since Joe Allen first opened its doors and reservation book back in May of 1965.
60 years, it's really amazing.
Lunch and dinner service choreographed with the precision of a Broadway musical.
People are anxious. They got tickets to this show. They've come to New York. They're, everything about it is, stressful. And then they can come here and they know that they're going to get a nice meal and they're going to get the theater on time. I started here as a server in 1998.
Mary Hatman should know, handpicked by Joe Allen to carry on the legacy and run his namesake restaurant.
The whole experience was really important to him. And he used to always say, if I like the place, if it works for me, then other people will. He was a front of the house guy. He had come from working at PJ Clark's. He was a bartender there.
Allen, who died in 2021, has become as much a legend as the famous clientele who frequent the Clubby Theater District institution. Although there's no naming names here, instead they let the food, especially the burger, take center stage.
Joe was pretty picky, so he was always battling to make sure he got his ground beef exactly the way he wanted it.
There's also the iconic bar.
We do amazing cocktail setup. We make all of our martinis with a side iced carafe to keep it cold.
But there's another scene stealer, Joe Allen's flop wall, immortalizing Broadway's biggest commercial failures, beginning with this show and poster donated by the cast that lore has it while commiserating in the restaurant 60 years ago.
I'm the son of Moose Charlap, the theater composer who wrote Kelly, one of the most famous flops in the history of American musical theater.
While you probably haven't heard of Kelly, you know Grammy Award-winning musician Bill Charlap's dad's Broadway blockbuster. Fox 5 capturing Sandy Duncan taking flight while rehearsing for the hit 1979 Broadway revival.
My father has Peter Pan up on the walls in Sardi's, but here we have Kelly.
Proof previous success isn't an insurance policy against landing on the Mount Rushmore of shows that only ran a minute.
I did look at the posters on the wall and I recognized some of the shows, and I, never imagined that I would be able to sit underneath my own poster.
Before Jill Eikenberry became a household name in movies like Arthur and the hit TV series L.A. Law, the Emmy nominee was a New York theater actress and Joe Allen regular.
Joe Allen's was the hangout, and for every show I did on Broadway and off Broadway, and it was always where we went.
Earning a place on the wall for her starring role in Onward Victoria, which opened and closed on the same night in December of 1980.
When the reviews came out, it honestly wasn't a big shock because there were so many things that weren't really working,
Something our man on the aisle, Stuart Klein, agreed with.
The beautiful Jill Eikenberry makes the best of the title role, but the show has all the energy of a dead fish.
But Eikenberry has a sense of humor about it, thanks to Joe Allen.
I made a point of sitting, if I could, underneath the poster so that, people would make the connection. And it became a thing.
While the posters adorning the walls may represent flops, Joe Allen has proven to be one of the longest running hits on Broadway. Natasha Verma, Fox 5 News.
All right, the bans on plastic bags at the grocery store are helping keep the beaches clean. Listen to this. A study published in the journal Science shows places with bans on plastic grocery bags have seen a 25 to 47% drop in plastics on their beaches when compared to places without the ban. Now, the study also says plastic shopping bags are one of the biggest contributors to plastic pollution in the ocean and can be very harmful to wildlife. Researchers say the bans on plastic bags are helping reduce pollution. Well, does your social battery feel drained by the end of the workday? Well, if so, you are not alone. 1 in 3 Americans say they feel the same way, and a new survey looks at the top reasons why. So listen to this. The biggest offenders: being interrupted or talked over, awkward small talk, and customer service interactions. Some people also say it's really about having to talk to strangers and getting unsolicited advice. Interesting. All right, don't go away. We'll be right back. But first, here's the 7-day forecast for the week ahead. Welcome back. Well, this week, a doctor at NYU Langone Health joined us to discuss a new blood test for celiac disease. We also learned how making a change to your diet could help you get more sleep. Take a listen.
In Fox 5 Health News, a new blood test for celiac disease may make the condition a lot easier to diagnose, and researchers say it's simple and it's accurate.
All right, join us now, Dr. Rabia Delator from NYU Langone Health. Doctor, thanks for being with us. Walk us through this new test.
Test is looking at basically signs of inflammation in your body that would occur as a downstream effect of ingesting gluten if you have celiac disease, an autoimmune condition that attacks the body's own GI tract when you ingest gluten because of the sensitivity to ingesting that specific protein.
How common is celiac disease, and how much of a problem is it?
Celiac disease is estimated to affect about 1 to 2% of the world's population. We know that it's most frequently seen in Italy, actually, and some other European countries, but we're finding more and more that other populations that we previously thought were not impacted by celiac disease actually are. In fact, there's a big upcropping of Punjabi people from India who are being diagnosed with celiac disease, and so new populations are coming about, and we're finding it in those populations. But this blood test could potentially obviate the need for biopsies, because the current blood tests that we have available can actually be impacted on whether or not you're on a gluten-free diet. So it's promising, but it's not exactly there yet in terms of exact science.
Yeah, it would be a lot easier than testing your diet over the course of several weeks and whatnot, which is how you currently do it. All right, well, the key to a good night's sleep could be found in the produce aisle. Researchers say loading up on fruits and vegetables can help beat insomnia, and we know there's really not anyone who's an adult these days who doesn't complain about how poor their sleep is. So this is certainly an interesting study. Walk us through the link between eating well and hopefully sleeping well.
Really interesting study. They looked at people who had no fruits or vegetables in a day and then up to 5 cups of fruits and vegetables in a day, and found that eating fruits and vegetables and 5 cups, exactly going from 0 to that amount, improves sleep quality by 16%. So I think there's so many different benefits from having these things in your diet. This is just another reason why you should increase the amount of fruits and vegetables in your diet.
Did they mention which ones?
No, they didn't go into specifics, but they did say that carbohydrates like whole grains improve sleep even more. So it's just important. Fiber is key. It's good for your microbiome. Here we're seeing that it's good for your sleep as well. It's good for your heart health. There's so many benefits, so it's really important to increase the amount of fiber. Women should have anywhere from 25 to 30 grams of fiber per day, and men 30 plus. So we have an epidemic of under eating fiber in this country, so it's really important to increase that amount.
Yeah, another great reason to try to spruce up the diet. Eat a little better than we all do.
Just a handful of kale or something.
That's right. There you go. That'd be good. All right, doctor, we appreciate it. Thanks so much.
All right, some good advice there. All right, we'll be right back with why learning this one life-saving skill is absolutely critical ahead of the summer pool and beach season. But first, let's take a look at the weather for the week ahead. Welcome back. Well, June is CPR Awareness Month, and families are going to be spending a lot of time at the beach and pool this season. On Good Day New York, we got a lesson on that one life-saving skill that you really need to know.
So often we hear about everyday life, people getting distracted. And you say that is one of the leading causes of kids drowning. It's parents just not paying attention sometimes by the pool.
Yeah, so a lot of times parents will think someone else is watching their child, so you always want to have your own child within arm's reach, so that way you can get to them quickly if there was a drowning situation.
And stay off the phone.
And stay off the phone, because it can happen immediately, and drowning is silent.
I know.
Yeah.
All right, so I see that you have a faux baby on the floor over there. What are we doing this morning, Sam?
So we're going to go over infant CPR.
Okay.
So if you get an emergency situation, obviously this is what you want to do after you take the kid out of the pool.
Yes.
Right.
So
Okay.
let's say that you saw your baby in the pool and you noticed that they were drowning. You want to take them out of the pool quickly, put them on the hard, flat surface. You're going to want to try and get their attention. So you're going to tap their shoulders, try and call their name. If they're not responding, you're going to assess for breathing. So you're going to open up that airway. I'm going to hover over, so I'm listening and feeling if I feel any breathing on my cheek, and also watching the chest for any chest rise. If there's no chest rise or breathing for after 5 to 10 seconds, you're going to start your compressions. So you're going to look for your nipple line. In the first year of life, you're going to use your pointer finger and your middle finger, and you're going to place them right up below the nipple line on that sternum bone. And you're going to do 30 compressions, 100 to 120 beats per minute, and you're going to push about 1.5 inches deep, which is a third of baby's chest wall depth. So it'll look like this. And you would count out to 30. And then you want to do your 2 breaths. So you want to make sure that airway is nice and open.
So do 30 of those and then do the breath?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. And then you want to make sure your airway is nice and open, so nose to the ceiling is a good position to be in. In the first year of life, your mouth opens wide and covers over both the mouth and nose for infants. You're going to do 2 quick breaths, just enough to make that chest rise, and then you go back to your 30 compressions, 2 breaths over and over.
How does that change then after that first year?
So good question. So for over a year of life through puberty, you're going to do the same beginning part, try and get their attention and assess for breathing, and then you're going to now use the palm, the center of your palm of one hand. So for adults, you've seen 2 hands on TV, I'm sure. So one hand is going to go right in the center, in that same spot right below the nipple line, and you're going to do 30 compressions again, pushing a little bit deeper, about 2 inches deep. Because they're a little bit bigger, it'll still be about a third of their chest wall depth. You'll do 30, and then when you do your breaths, you're covering now just their mouth. So you're pinching their nose close so air doesn't escape out of their nose when you do the breaths.
Got it.
So the key is, because obviously this is a panic situation when it happens, is to remember 30. 30 compressions, 2 breaths.
Yes.
If you remember those 2 things, it'll get you through while someone else calls 911.
Yes, so if you're alone, you want to always attend to the baby first. So you don't want to walk away and call 911. You're going to do 5 rounds, which is about 2 minutes long, and then you'd step away and grab your phone quickly, call 911, have them on speaker, and immediately jump back into what you were doing.
Really important information there. All right, we'll be right back with an inside look at one of the most watched TV shows on Netflix this month. But first, let's take another look at the weather for the week ahead. Welcome back. Well, earlier this week on Good Night New York, Nathan Mitchell from the popular Netflix series Ginny and Georgia joined Ryan and Crystal on the couch. They talked all things season 3, which was the most watched TV show on the streamer when it premiered earlier this month. Let's take a look.
Well, let's talk about this. Season 3 has been wildly popular. It's on my TV every single day when I get home. I watch the whole season. It's incredible. It's gripping. There's drama. It's funny. It seems like something for the whole family. What drew you to the role at first to play Zion?
I felt a real simpatico with the character. You know, like he's free-flowing, he likes to roam, he's easygoing. He's a nice contrast with Georgia, you know? And so Georgia is more, you know, there's a bit of a chaotic element, there's a wild card element to her, and he's more like just low-key, a little chill.
Okay. Are you like that? Do you feel like, are you low-key?
I would say that. I think me and the character, we have a lot of similarities.
Okay, gotcha. Now, when you first started in it, because I feel like there's so many things to stream, did you have any idea that people would go like, we like it? Because they don't like it, they love it.
No idea.
Okay.
None. Because, you know, shows come and go all the time, right? And so there's a show, the couple episodes that I was auditioning for. I was filming The Boys, and I was like, okay, sure, this might happen. It might not.
Right.
And then I got the role. We film a couple episodes. It comes out. People love it. And then one season turns into another, and it's just been incredible momentum.
I like that.
That's awesome. It's been so wildly successful. And you also play Ginny's dad on the series. And she's multicultural, mixed race. So what is that like on the show, sort of promoting that? Because that's something that she deals with, right, when she's in school and things of that nature through her character.
Yeah, you know, it can be tough for a lot of people growing up, you know, because...
Are you mixed race at all?
My mom is Jamaican and my dad is Trinidadian. So both cultures from the Caribbean, but different cultures in and of themselves. You know, and so you know, my parents came to Canada, and that's where they met, you know, and so I think it would be a little different if you're a Trinidad in Jamaica or a Jamaican in Trinidad. You feel it more, but in Canada, it's like they're both coming. It's a new place for both of them, you know. But yeah, I think identity and belonging is such an important theme, you know, and navigating that, because sometimes you feel like you have one foot in this world and one foot in the other, you know, and you're trying to navigate that and figure out where you fit. You know, and I think the show is great because we explore those themes.
Yeah. Trying to find that balance. Now, we got to say he's also supporting his ex through a murder trial, Crystal.
Oh,
I mean, what advice would you give to your character through all this?
Yes,
I mean,
exactly.
It gets a little more than spicy.
It's a little dicey.
Yeah.
It's a little dicey.
Spicy and dicey. All right, I feel a theme here.
All the above.
Okay.
You know, I would say my advice would be to keep a leveled head, because there's a lot of information that comes at Zion, things that he didn't know before. And it's very easy to just kind of jump off the handle and make decisions. And some of those decisions might not be in the best interest of everyone.
Okay.
You know, and
I like the way you're couching it. Like you know how to tease.
It is a really good show. All right, we'll be right back with this morning's top stories. But first, here's a look at your 7-day forecast.